Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to this class. And this weekend is going to be our last weekend for Microsoft Excel. I'm so excited that we'll be ending the class for Microsoft Excel. I'll have to move to other course for the boot camp. So I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. So can we all see my screen? Can we see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to start. Okay, before we start the class properly, in 2 minutes, can someone just remind us of all that we learned last weekend? In 2 minutes. I think Andrew, are you there? Are you there, Andrew? Can Andrew hear me? If you are saying something, you are muted. Or if Andrew is not there,
Yes, good
can
evening.
okay, good evening, Andrew. Good evening.
Yes, so what I recall that we've been able to cover in the last 2 weekends, we've been going through the basics of Microsoft Excel.
Okay.
We looked at the basic the data entry, the formatting. We looked at data cleaning with Power Query. Okay, that's what I can recall.
No, it's fine. It's fine. All right. Thank you so much for reminding us. I think in our last class, we've been looking at Power Query, how to use it for loading data into Microsoft Excel from different sources. We're looking at how to transform data using some Power Query features, and we are still on it. So thank you very much for that, Andrew. All right. So in our last class, we stopped at merging queries. I'm going to go by it again. I didn't have a proper slide to explain the joins aspect. So I'm going to open the PowerPoint I created to just explain that part well for most, especially for those of us that we'll still be doing joins in SQL. So you have to understand it very well, how it works in Microsoft Excel. Then when you get to SQL, it becomes something easy for you to understand. So I'll go over the merging queries once again. I'm going to delete this one that we merged last in our last class. So delete, just right click on the query you want to delete and just delete it. So I'm going to delete that. I've done this now. Merging queries has to do with you merging tables together horizontally. So I want to merge the employee details and the department together such that anytime I click on the employee details table, I don't have to start looking for the departments for each of these ID here in another table. I want to be able to see both all the details about the department in the same table to form a full employee details table talking about the department, the location, and everything. And one thing I said about merging queries is that there has to be a unique column, that is a common column between both tables that you want to merge together, which is the employee department ID. And if you check here in the department details, you also see the department ID. So to draw out these two information on the department name and location into the employee details table, we have to use the merging queries features. And I'm going to merge it as new. So I'll click on the first column, the first table, I want to merge data from or look up for information from, which is the employee details. Then here in your home tab, inside the combined group, you'll see the merge queries. I'll click on the drop-down button. Then I'll use merge queries as new. Merge queries as new. So we have the merge queries dialog box here. And it's asking, okay, what is the next column you want to merge it with? The next table, you want to merge it with. I'm going to click on this drop down here, and I'll select department details. So we have the two tables. Now, what is that column common between both? Department ID here, department ID. So I'll select this, and I'll select this. So here, the kind of join, we have left outer join. We have other joins. We have right outer join, full outer join. We have inner join. So I'll explain these first four. Now, let's start with the left outer join. So coming here, because you have to understand these joints very well. When we move to SQL, when your teacher starts teaching you on SQL, you get to understand better. For left outer join, you are saying return all the left table, then use the department ID to draw out information from the right table. So for example, you can see here in the employee details table, you're seeing employee ID. Here in the department ID, you're seeing 101, 103, 102, 101, 104. But here you are seeing 101, 102, 103, 105. So I'm saying for the left join, I'm saying return all the table here, all the left table, that is employee details, which is you check here from here to here. Hold on. If you check from here, you would see that everything on the left table is being returned. 101, 103, 102, 101, 104, everything. And it only drew information that match in the right table. You can see 105 is not here on this table. This result from the left join. You can't find 105 here. All it did was return all the information from the left table. Then anyone that match, it brings them in to the table from the right table. Then the next one is the right join. You are saying return everything on the right table. Then anyone that match using that column, department ID, anyone that matches it, bring it in from the left table and combine everything together. You'd see here that based on the department ID from the department details table, you can see all the IDs here: 101, 103, 102, 101, 105. But you will not find 104 because 104 is from the right, the left table. You won't find it. So I'm saying use the department ID on the right table to draw out information from the left table, but return all the table from the right. Then we have the inner join. Inner join is, when you say intersection of two sets, it means there's elements that are common between set A and set B. So here, the IDs, department ID common between the left table and the right table is 101 is here, 101 is here, 103 is here, 103 is here, 102 is here, 102 is here. There's 104 here, but there's no 104 here, and there's 105, only 105. So the only results or records it will return is only those with the ID 101, 102, 103, because these are the common IDs common between both tables. Then for the full outer join, I'm saying merge everything together, return both all the details in the left table and everything in the right table. So we see here using the department ID, you can see you have 101, you have 103, you have 102, 101, 104, 105. Note that 104 is only in the employee details table and 105 is only in the department details table. So I'm saying use that to return all the information, everything, full outer join, combine all tables together, return everything. So that is that on the merging part. So I'm going to go back and I want the left outer join because I wanted to return all the details using the department, return everything on the employee details table and use the ID here to draw out information from the department details table. So I'll leave that left outer join and you can see here the selection matches 10 of 10 rows from the first table. Then I'll hit OK. The moment I hit OK, you can see here department details that's meshed with, although it's not showing the column names. So I have to expand this. To expand it, we have a node button here. Click on that node and you can see. So I'll uncheck all or leave it at, and I'll just uncheck department ID. Since we have department ID here, I would leave department name and location. And you can see use original column name as prefix. If I don't uncheck this, it's going to appear as department details dot department name, department details dot location, which I don't want it to be so. So I want to check this and click OK. The moment I click OK, you can see that we have department details and the location. So this is how you merge your queries together. I'll just rename this to give us full employee details. Now the next thing we'll be looking at is how to append our queries. Appending queries has to do with you stacking your queries together on top of each other. So let's say we have sales data from like in 3 different sheets. You have the one for 2020, you have the one for 2021, you have the one for 2020, 2021, 2022. And I want to merge, append them together, stack them on top of each other. What do I mean? Let me show you what I mean here. So we have 2 tables, which like 2 queries. We have employee ID, sitting about employee, giving details about employee, their name, department, the salary, when they joined. same thing. We have table 2, almost the same details here. So I want to merge, not merge. What am I making mention of merge? I want to append them together on top of each other. You can see 1, 2, 3. You can see 4, 5, 6. I want to append them to form a single table like this. We use the append queries. So when it comes to appending queries, it has to be of the same column structure. By column structure, I mean it has to be the same number of columns. So if table 1 is 5 columns, table 2 has to be 5 columns. Another thing again is that they have to have the same data type. So each of the columns, the one you want to append to the other, must be of the same data type. If here is text, here must also be text. If here is text, here must also be text. If here is number, whole number, here must also be whole number. It has to be the same data type for each of the columns you want to append together. Now let's look at this data. I'll draw it in. I want to bring in one more data. Okay. Where's this? Okay, so I'm bringing in these two data. I have to. Okay, so I have to bring them in. So I've added it to the same sheet. So I'll bring the other one in as well. Okay, so I'm bringing the second one in. These are two different data on two different sheets, and I want to append them together to form a single data. I hit OK. Okay, so let me just rename this. I'll give this employee details 1 and employee details 2 for the other one. Okay, so I want to not merge. I want to append this employee details 1 to employee details 2. The same thing, select the first column you want to append to the other one. Then in your combined group, still in the home tab, you would see the append queries feature. Click on the drop down button. We have two options. Do you want to append queries, that is, just join the other table directly to it, or append queries as new? I'm going to append it as new. So I'll click on append queries as new. So we have this, the append queries dialog box appears, and it's asking you, you want to concatenate rows from 2 tables into a single table. How many number of tables do you want to concatenate, or how many number of tables do you want to append together? If you have more than 2, you just select this, and it will give you more options to select what you want to select. We only have 2. So I'll leave it at 2 tables. And the next one is, what is the second table? The second table is this employee details 2. Then I'll hit OK. Then it will merge all together. And you can see it as combine these two, this one, employee details 1 with employee details 2, to form this single table here. Don't forget I said it has to be of the same column structure, the same number of columns, the same data type. So if here you have 1, 2, 3 whole number here, you must also have whole number here. If here you have text, the other table must also have text as. Forget about the column header. The column header might not be the same thing, but it has to be of the same column structure and the same data type before you can append your queries together. So that's that on appending your queries. The next thing we're going to look at is data modeling, and from there we'll move to Power Pivot. But before then, I would like to open a new sheet because I sent a project that we're working on in this class to us. Let me just open it here. From this project, we'll look at how to connect tables together, create a model for your data in Power Pivot, and also how to use some DAX function in Power Pivot. But let's check it out. Okay, what are the consequences if they are not of the same data type? You would have problem if you merge data that are not of the same data type. There's going to be a problem because it will not be able to recognize the if you want to change the data type for all of them after you combine them, it's going to be a problem for you. And you can try it and see what the implication will be at your end. So we have Excel projects. We're going to look at some sales analysis, looking on a sales analysis report. The business overview. Bright Mart Stores is a leading retail chain with a diverse product catalog that serves a wide range of customers' demographics. With over 200 stores spread across multiple regions, Bright Mart is known for its competitive pricing, innovative marketing strategies, and a commitment to delivering an excellent shopping experience. However, recent trends indicate fluctuations in key performance metrics, prompting the management team to seek actionable insight. So what is a responsibility as a data analyst? As an analyst at BrightMart, you have been assigned the critical task of analyzing sales data to uncover patterns and trends. The data set provided by the management team includes detailed records on product categories and subcategories, the customer demographics, the sales performance metrics, and seasonal regional sales trends. Then what is the analysis goal? The goal of the analysis is to answer key business questions such as, what are the key performance indicators such as the total revenue, the total profit, the average order placed, customer count, and average order value? How do monthly or quarterly revenue and profit trends evolve over time? What is the demographic breakdown of customers by their age, the gender, and the region? That is, we're talking about countries in particular. How is the revenue distributed across different countries? Also, we're going to look at some product performance and product profitability. Which product category generates the highest revenue and profit? What are the top 5 performing products by profit? What are the trends in average order quantity over the years? Then for the customer insight and retention, what is the average revenue generated per customers? Who are the top 5 customers based on the revenue generated? And what product categories are preferred by the specific age group? Then we have other with the findings, the team expects recommendation on how to optimize their product offerings and inventory management, how to increase customer retention and satisfaction, how to improve overall profitability and operational efficiency, how to improve sales in regions with low sales. So they asked to deliver a comprehensive report with visualization, key insight, and an actionable recommendation to help the business to achieve their business goal. So there's download data set here. Of course, if you hit that, you download data set. But then it's still the same data set that I'm going to be bringing in now. We've been using it before, so I would bring that in. We have a, okay, yes. So I'm going to close this now. I'll close this and open a new, let me just close this. Close, and open a new sheet. Please, if I'm too fast, call my attention to it. If you get lost at some point, call my attention to it. I will go back to you and explain over again. So Control S to save this. Then, yep. So I'll close this and open a new sheet. Okay. So I'm going to bring in the data we want to work on. Is the one we've been working on, the one we used when we're trying to split columns and likes. I'll bring them in. It's an Excel workbook. So this particular one. So let's see if we still remember how to do some basic transformation with our data, like splitting. So we'll go over it again, and someone is going to put me through. So I'm bringing in these two data, sales 2011 to 2014 and sales 2015 to 2016. I'll bring both in. Then, so why can't we just load in directly? Why do we have to transform data first? Anybody wants to answer that? Why? What's the reason why we are hitting the transform data button and not just load? Who wants to help us out?
Yes, ma'am. To clean our data.
Yeah, to clean our data. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm bringing these two data in. Okay, so we have this here. Now, can someone just put me through what we're going to do? We have these two data imported and we've been given what we need to work on. The objective, the first thing you do is to bring in your data into Power Query. Then if you have any, if it's dirty, you have to clean it. So what should we do? What should we do? Who is there? Who's going to put me through? This is our data. We want to start cleaning. What should we do? Anybody wants to help? What should we do?
So I feel we should remove these two.
The top rows,
These
right?
two rows.
First,
The top
yes.
rows.
So I'll come here to remove top rows. And the number of rows we want to remove is 2. 2. Then I'll hit OK. Once I'm done, I would move to the other end. Let's see if there's something, before we start looking at the data type. Okay, yes. So then we'll use first row as headers. Once we are done, I would move to the other end, is what we worked on already. Then I would split this column into 3 based on the limiter. Okay. Countries. Then I'll do the same thing for states. Then I'm going to extract the product category from in between those delimiter. So come to my transform tab and I'll say extract between delimiter. Then I'll type in the delimiter I want to. Okay. Then I can leave this at, I'm going to rename this, remove that. So looking at the second one, the same thing. The same thing. So I'm just going to split this as well. Country, then states, states, states. So let's see if we still remember. I want to concatenate these two tables to form, just append them, I mean. So what do I do? I'm going to append these sales 2021 to 2014 and 2015, 2016. What do I do? Anyone wants to put me through? Are we there?
Yes, we select the first table, then we'll
Okay.
go to append queries.
Okay. Let's append it as new. So append as new. And yes, I would pick. Now, let's correct the data type. So we have order ID, date, customer ID, customer age, customer gender. I'm okay with this. Product ID, subcategory product, the quantity, the unit cost, the unit price, the cost, the revenue, the location ID, the country, state, and product. I'm okay with this. So I'm checking this as well to see the same thing. I'm okay with the data type for all this as well. So yes, we can append. Append as new. Then when the append queries dialog box appears, it asks if it's more than 2 tables or just 2 tables. So it's just 2 tables. So I'll select the second table, which is this, and I'll hit OK to append everything. And I'm going to name this sales 20, sales 2011 to 2016. Yes. So we have this way. Now, I said we're going to look at data modeling. When it comes to data modeling, mostly for some of us that are not new to what data modeling is. Okay, let me ask, what is data modeling? If you have an idea of what data modeling is all about, can you just share with us what is data modeling? If you have an idea, share what data modeling is. Anybody? Anyone wants to share what data modeling is? Nobody? Okay.
Hello.
Okay, yeah. You can share with us.
All right. So yes, what I know about data modeling is like making connections like between the between each column. You have what you call like
between your tables.
between tables, yeah.
Okay.
Making connection, like using foreign key, like a particular like a column that appears, like the way we did that joining.
Okay.
When we wanted to merge tables, there are some columns that are common to both. Like there'll be columns or keys when we separate them small. So that's the idea I have, like how we can connect it together.
Okay, thank you very much. That's basically the idea that most people have, that data modeling has to do with connecting tables together, creating relationship between them. But it goes beyond creating relationship between tables. There are other things that are attached to it when it comes to data modeling. It goes beyond trying to link your tables. Of course, I can't dispute the fact that data modeling has to do with you creating a model for your table, connecting tables together, but it goes beyond that. When it comes to data modeling, it has to do with you creating a blueprint of how you want your data to be stored. It has to do with you creating a blueprint, a pattern on how you want your data to be stored. And when it comes to data modeling, there are things that are involved. Like I said, it goes beyond you just creating relationship. It involves the entities that makes up a business or makes up the data you want to work on, the attribute. Then we have you normalizing them and noting what the primary keys are and what the foreign keys are. First, when we say entities are like objects or systems that makes up a business. For example, let's say that someone comes to meet you and the person is like, okay, Martha, I want you to help me create a model for my business. I want to run a supermarket. The first thing you want to ask as a data analyst, I want to build a model for that business is, what are the entities of the business? And by entities, I mean, what are those things that forms the business? Examples of the entities that will form that supermarket is, we need customers, because without a customer, a supermarket cannot function. Who will come and buy something from the supermarket? Nobody. So we need customers. Then we need product for the business, because I mean, what do you want to sell in a supermarket if you don't have product? We need product. If possible, you need supplier that will be supplying the supermarket things that we sell. Then, if the supermarket is going to be in different locations, location becomes an entity as well. It's going to be in multiple locations. Then we have the orders that will be placed, which is like the transaction for that supermarket that will be placed so far. As long as the supermarket is going to be run, we have transactions. So all these are the entities of the business. All these forms the business. The customers form the business, the product form the business, suppliers form the business. Location becomes an entity if it's going to be in different locations. And the orders itself that we place, the transaction forms the business as well. These are the entities of the business. And the next thing after entities are the attributes. These are like the characteristics of the entities. So for the entity customer, the attribute is going to be the customer ID, the customer name, the customer gender, customer age, customer look. Everything that has to do with the customer is going to be the attribute of the entity customer. Then for products, we want to look at product ID, product name, product category, product subcategory, anything that has to do with the product that describes the product. That's the entities, the attribute of the entity product. Then for location, I want to look at, okay, location ID, the country, the state, the postal code, latitude or longitude, these are the things describing the locations. These are the attributes of the location, the entity location. So this, after you look at the entities of the business and the attributes, then there's something we call normalization. There's a second rule of normalization that states that every column describing another column should not be in that same table. What do I mean? After you've noticed, you've checked the entities of the business, then you've looked at the attributes. If there's any column describing one there, you just separate them. Let's look at this now. Can we recognize, we've meshed this table together already. Can we recognize the entities of this business, of this data here? Let's recognize them. What are the entities of this data? We have, look, based on what I've explained, what are the entities of, looking at this data, what are the entities here? Anybody?
Customer, product. Okay, we have the customer demographics here. We have customer ID.
We have customer. Now let's just look at. I don't want the entities. What are the entities first of all? We have the what? We have the customer.
Customer.
Okay, good. Customer. Product. Then we have product.
ID, then location.
Then we have location.
Location.
Right? Good. We have location. So we have the customer, we have the product, then we also have the location here. Very good. Thank you very much. So when you've noticed or you've picked, okay, what the entities are, then the next thing is what are the attributes? So you can see here that these are the attributes of the entity customer. This is the customer ID. It's describing the customer. It's talking about the customer. Customer age, customer gender. Let me just switch this off so that it won't, the column profile and so yeah. So we have all these three are talking about the customer. Then let's move to product. You can see we have the product ID, product subcategory, product itself. And then move to the last part, you get to see we have the product category. These are talking about the product. Then for the location, we have the location that we joined. We have location ID, we have the country, we have the state. This is talking about the location, the entity location. Then once you've picked those, you'll be able to identify the entities of the business and the attribute as well. Then the next thing we'll do is data normalization, splitting into fact table and dimension tables. Now, who can tell me what fact tables are and what dimension table is all about too? Anybody have an idea of what fact table is and what dimension table is? Anybody?
Can I try?
Yes,
I
you
don't
can.
know. Okay,
Yes,
I think facts table deals with quantitative data and the other deals with qualitative data.
Yes. Fact table is that table that contains all the measures about the business, the revenue, the revenue, the sales, the cost, the price, the events of the business. Why the dimension table describes the fact table? So I'm going to split this now into fact tables and dimension tables. Going by the second rule of data normalization that states that every column describing another column should not be in the same table. So the first entity we're able to recognize is the customer. So we're going to create a customer dimension table that will talk about the customer. To do this, I'm going to right click and duplicate this table, this one here. Then I'll rename this from sales 2011 to 2022 customer dimension customer. I'll give it dim customer. Then I'll hit enter. I want to only select details about the customer in this table to create the customer dimension table. What I'm going to do here, go to my home tab. Then you can see here in the manage columns group, you'd see choose column option. Click on the drop down button there and select choose column. So here you get to choose the column you want to be in that table. I'll uncheck all, and the only details I want are the details concerning the customer. So I'll select the customer ID, the customer age, the customer gender. These are the only things concerning customer here, and I'll hit OK. So the only thing you'll find here now is just details about the customer alone. So here, customer ID is like a unique identifier for every of the customer in this table here. So this customer ID is our primary keys. What are primary keys? What are primary keys? I already said it. These are like unique identifier for the records in a table. Just like when we are in school, you can have two Ibrahim Blessing in school, but the only thing that differentiates Ibrahim Blessing A from Ibrahim Blessing B is the matric number. When they put in my matric number on the database on the system, it brings up my own record because it's just a unique identifier for me. Then the other person has his or her own matric number. That's what differentiates. So we can have two persons bearing the same name as our customers, but the only thing that will differentiate both customers together will be that ID given to them. So one thing you should note, in dimension tables that are describing fact table, you don't have to, there's no supposed to be duplicates in that table. So avoid having duplicates in your dimension tables because a dimension table only contains unique records for customers that describes what is in the fact table. Only the fact table is allowed to contain duplicates, not dimension table. So I'll right click and remove any duplicate that might be in this customer ID table. So right click and I'll say remove duplicate. So waiting for it. It's still trying to load. Yes, I've removed the duplicate from this. Let's check here and see. Before I remove the duplicate, you notice you are seeing, when you check this record, you are seeing 999 plus rows. But the moment I remove duplicates, you can see you are seeing just, you should be able to see, it should show you just 1999 plus rows. So let's come back. We'll come back to it and see. You would see it's still trying to remove those duplicates. So I'm going to create the one for duplicates. I'm going to create the one for products that will contain details about the product alone. Now rename this dim product. Dim product. So I'll hit enter. Then come here to my choose column. I only want to choose details about the product. So I don't check all, then check product ID, check the subcategory, the product itself, then come down to check product category. And I'm going to hit OK. It will only give me details about the product. Don't forget I said, for your dimension table, remove all duplicates based on the primary key there. You should only have unique record for every of the product. So I right click on that product ID, then I'll say remove duplicate. So it's still trying to, yeah. You can see here we have 4 columns, 130 rows. Let's go back to the dim customer. Okay. 4 columns, 130 rows. So then let's look at, right click again and let's look for one for location. I'll duplicate this. Then I'll rename this dim location. Dim location. Here, I'm also going to only draw out details concerning location alone. Uncheck all, then check the location ID, the country, and the state. Then I'll hit OK. This is only record about the location alone. I'm going to remove duplicate from the table. To remove all duplicates, remove duplicates. To remove duplicate from that table. So you can see 3 columns, 53 rows. Good. Now the next thing, after we've been able to get the one for dimension table for customers, that is a table describing customers, the one for products, and the one for location. The next thing, let's get the fact table. To get the fact table, this is a table that contains all the measures, just like what the other person, I don't know the person, I didn't check the name. That's like what he said, that it contains the quantitative data. So I'm going to right click and duplicate as well. Then I'll give this, I'll just name it sales fact 2011 to 2016. Then I'll hit enter. Now I'm going to choose column. So one thing, we have this primary keys and there's foreign keys. For primary keys are unique identifier for every record in a table. Why foreign keys are those columns that links two tables together. So let's go back and choose columns. I'll first uncheck, let me uncheck, or let's leave all checked. The order ID has to be in the fact table. The fact table is that one that contains all the records. So if Blessing visits the supermarket 2 times, the fact table will contain the number of times I came to visit the supermarket to buy something from the supermarket. It will show the record, the number of times I came there, the amount of orders I placed, the number of orders I placed, the amount of the revenue I generated from me buying from them, the profit that was generated, everything about the transaction will be recorded on the fact table. So order ID is in the order ID, transaction ID. So I'll leave it in the fact table. This is like the unique identifier for the primary key for this sales fact table. I'll leave the date. The customer ID here that I want to create in this, want to add to this sales fact table is going to serve as a foreign key, because this is what will link this table, the sales fact table, to the dimension table for customer. So I'll leave this checked, but I'll uncheck the customer age. I'll uncheck the customer gender. I'll leave the product ID because it's going to serve as a foreign key to link the sales fact table to the DIM product. So I'll leave product ID. I'll uncheck subcategory, uncheck product. I'll leave order quantity because this is telling us the number of orders that was placed. So any quantitative, any column contain numerical values like profit, revenue, order quantity, everything will be on the fact table, sales fact table. So I'll leave all these ones. Unit cost, I'll leave it. Unit price, leave it. Cost, revenue. I'll leave location ID because it serves as a link to connect this sales fact table to the DIM location. And I'll uncheck country, states, and product category. Then I'll hit OK. So we have this. Now, I won't be removing duplicate from this sales fact table because the sales fact table is going to be the one to hold a record of the number of times that a transaction occurred, or number of times orders was placed, and everything. So I'm saying if I look at the sales fact table and I say, okay, this is customer ID. This particular customer placed this order, and this is the customer. Okay, who is this customer? Then we want to get more information about the customer based on the ID. Would go to the DIM customer, and you see, oh, this particular customer, this is the age, and this is the gender. Now we're not provided with the name of the customer, just the age and the gender. So okay, this particular customer, this is the age and the gender. So I go to the sales fact table and I say, okay, this is the products that was sold. 2 orders, the quantity of the order placed was 2. Okay, what is this product? What category does it belong to? Then you come to the DIM products dimension table and you get to know, okay, the product is, now let's go back and see the product I selected. This is P0052. So I'll come here to the product. So what is P0052? Oh, the product is, so let's arrange this. I'm going to arrange this now to give product category first. Then, so yeah, so it's okay. This P0052 belongs to the bikes category, and this is the category, and this is the product itself. So the dimension table describes the fact table, tells more about the fact table. That is what it does. So we are done with creating dimension table for customers, then the product, the DIM location, and the sales fact table. The last thing I want us to create here before we move to create a model is the date dimension table. Now, I know someone is wondering, why are we creating a date dimension table? It's very, very important to create a date dimension table because with date dimension table, you'll be able to drill through your data to see for the month, to see for the year. Hold on, please. All right. So as I was saying earlier, sorry about that. With your date dimension table, you'll be able to group your dates automatically. Some for everything for each month, quarter, or year, instead of manually trying to break the event of what happened on different dates. With your dimension table, You can, add extra details like the weekends, holiday, the quarter of the year, making it easy to see trends in your data. Also, with your dimension, you can generate report faster and accurately. So let's see how to generate a date dimension table here. So I'm going to be teaching us how you can use your M code to do that. And what is M code? M code is that code that is written behind the scene based on every transformation you applied to your data in Power Query. For example, all these things we've been doing now. Let's look at this 2015, 2016. All these things, all this transformation you applied here. If you check the advanced query editor, you would see everything. Can you see? How do you get this? You can see the advanced query editor still in the home tab. You see it in the query group. You see advanced editor. Click on this. Every transformation you apply to this sales 2015, 2016 is seen here. You can see everything here. So it's telling you, oh, first thing, this is the source of the workbook you are using, the Excel workbook you are using. Then when you brought it in, and also the moment you were done, headers was promoted automatically. Then what else did you do again? Every of the steps that was applied is seen here. The data type is showing data type. Oh, you splitted column by delimiter. Every transformation you apply, just think of it as that thing that the moment you apply a transformation, it records it at the background, at the back view of Power Query. That is what it does. So I'm going to create a date dimension table using M code, and you have to stay with me on this one. To do this first, we already know that our data is from 2011 to 2016. I know the start date and I know the end date. So I'll just come here, come here to new source, and I want, okay, other sources. Now come here to other sources and click on blank query. So here in blank query, I'll open this advanced query editor. Then I'm going to remove all this here, remove the source here, change this. So from source, I'm going to say, okay, my start date. So stay with me on this one. I would name this start date. I want to declare my start date. I'm declaring my start date to be open. Then I would say 1/1/2011. Currently, this is saying this as just a text. For me to remove the text to generate date from this, I'm going to use a function called date.from. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to use a function called date.from. But it is a faster way to just generate this in Power Pivot itself, but date.from. So it's saying value, you can see date.from. Then what else, comma? What is my end date? I'm declaring my end date as well. End date. End date equals, so I'll use date.from. Open my parentheses and put my double quotation mark and say, okay, 12/31. First, I have to look at this. Okay, let me just 31/2016. Then, comma. So we're going to generate the full date. We just declared what our start date is going to be from. That's why I'm wondering, why do we use date.from? That is because if we don't use the date.from, Power Query is just only seeing this as a text. So we have to say date from this thing that we type in here. That's how you let it know that it is date you want to bring out from it. Okay. All right, so guys, can you give me just a few minutes? I'll join in now. Please, thank you. All right, sorry about that. Can we all hear me, please? Can we hear me?
Yes, yes, you can hear you.
Okay, so I'll just continue from where I stopped. So I have to do this again. So I'll quickly go over this. So I'm calling out my start date to be, then I would say date.from, because I wanted to bring out the date from what I'll be telling it 1/1/2016, then comma to separate it, move to the next one. My end date is equal to date.from, then open my parentheses and put my double quotation mark in between. So I'm saying, let's just 31. So I have to check the dates. The format is date, day, month, year. So 31/12/2016. So I just called out, declared my start date and my end date based on the data given. Then the next thing I want to do is to populate the dates between the start date and the end date, and I'll name it full date. Then to do that, I'll use the function list.date. List.date. So I would say list.date. So you can see it here. So
Hello,
the
ma.
argument, oh, sir, I'm here.
Is the start date not supposed to be 1/1/2011?
Oh, thank you very much. I missed that. Thank you. Thank you for calling my attention to that. That was a mistake. So list.date, the first argument, you can see when I hover around this, it's telling you the first argument for it is the start date. The first argument is the start date, followed by count as number, then followed by the step as duration. So first argument is start date. So I'll just type in start date that I've declared, and you can see it here. This particular one here is the same thing here. So I'll click on this, comma. The next argument is count as number. So I want to get the number of days between the start date and the end date. To do this, I would also have to use a function. It's going to be the end date minus start date, but I'll use a function called number from to generate number from that date. What do I mean? I'm going to first type in the end date. So I'll say end date minus start date, like this. But the argument is count as numbers. To get the number of days in between the end date and the start date, I'll have to use a function called number.from to extract the number from the end date and also number from the start date. So I'd come here and say number.from, and this one is saying, oh, what is this now? Number.from, open my parentheses and just type in the end date has gone. So I'll just type in the end date in there. The end date in there. I'll close the parentheses for this. Then same thing for this one, number.from, open it, type in my start date. So I'm saying the first argument is the start date. This is my start date. The number of days that is going to be between the start date and the end date. To get that, is going to be, they're saying generate number from this end date minus generating number from the start date. Then I'm going to put +1. And this one I'm putting +1 to be on the safer side in case one of the dates gets omitted. So just put in +1. Then, comma, the next argument is step as duration. So the next argument is going to be hash duration. Hash duration 1,0,0,0. So what I'm saying here is that I'm saying it's going to be 1 day interval, 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. So once I'm done with this, the next thing is what are you returning? I want it to return full date. So let me explain this again. So you can see no error, no syntax error have been detected. So the first thing I did was to declare my dates, what my start date is going to be. The next one is to declare what my end date will be. Then to populate the dates, the list of dates between the start date and the end date, I use the list.date function, giving it the name full date. And this is the argument of it. The first argument is the start date. The second argument is the number of days in between the end date and the start date. Then the last argument is the step as duration, which is I want it to be a day interval, 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. So let's hit done. Then you see that it's going to help us generate a list. Can you see a list of dates from 2011? And if you scroll down, it's going to be till 2016. If you scroll down, you keep scrolling down, you get down to 2016. So the first thing, before I can, this is currently a list, not a table. So to convert it to a table, you can see here, convert to a table. This is a contextual tab. It popped up the moment we generated a new table. So I'll click on convert to table. Then it would convert this. Do you have it to table dialog box here? You want to convert this to table. Do you want to select any delimiter? I don't want any delimiter. And how to handle extra columns, just show as error. So, okay. So I have this. I'm going to name this from column 1 to date. Then I'll change the data type as well from this to just date, showing ABC. So this is date. So to populate other columns, such as, you can see, look at the sales fact table here. We have the dates here. But with the help of creating a date dimension table, I can add more tables, more columns in this table, such as the one for year, the one for the month, the one for quarter, and the likes. To do this, select the column here. In your add data tab, you would see here in the from date and time column, you'd see the option for dates. Click on the drop down button, we have different options. Do you want to add year? If I click on year, it will populate the year from this. If I want to generate the one for month, I'll go back to select the date column, then come here and I'll say, okay, let's go for month. I'll hit month, which I've done. I want the month name. Make sure this column is selected. Come here for month, and I'll go and select, I want the month, the name of the month. It will generate the name of the month for me. You can see the name of the month here. Make sure you're selecting this particular column, the date, because it's this one used to generate other columns. And I want, let's see what else I want. I want the quarter of the year. It will generate the quarter of the year for me. What else do I want? I want the maybe start of the week. I'll select start of the week. So as many as possible that you want to generate, you just keep generating them. Now we've created a dimension table for dates. So I'm going to rename this from query 1 to dim calendar. Dim calendar. Good. So we have all the tables we need. We have the customer dimension table for customer. We have for product. We have for location. We have the sales fact table itself. Then we have the dim calendar. So we're going to import this into Power Pivot now so that we can create relationship between our data and we'll just continue from there. Going to my home tab, for those of you that will be doing it, trying it out, we have different options. But this is currently greater because why I logged out the other time, I just saved it and it loaded the data into Microsoft Excel for me. So I'll just click on load, close and load. So it will load the data in for me. Okay, so it's loading the data in and that's loaded the dimension table for customers. And I've already named this on my desktop. So this you can give it any name as well at your end. So I'm saving this now. So we are good. So how do I bring this Power Pivot into the system? So for some of us, if you don't see your Power Pivot here, just, okay, let's close this. Let me open a new tab. I don't want to do it in this same tab. So I'll open a new workbook here, a new workbook. Then if you can't find your Power Pivot here, click on your file. That's the backstage view. Then come to options. When you're in options, you can see add-ins. Click on add-ins. So I'm waiting for it to load. So we are here in add-ins. Let's see. No, not it should be add-ins.com or so. Let me, yeah, add-ins. Then click on drop down here. You can see comes add-ins. Yeah, comes add-ins. Then hit go. So you can see here that mine, Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel, is currently checked. So try that at your end. If you can't find your own Power Pivots here, just go to your file tab, go straight down to your options, and you would click on the add-ins, the select comms add-ins, and check the box for Power Pivot for Excel and hit OK. So mine is here currently. How do I import data into Power Pivots? When you see that your data is loaded here, talking about model, everything is done in the Power Pivot. And Power Pivot is where you get to connect relationship with, create relationship between your tables. You get to create calculated columns, create measures using some DAX functions. Everything is being done in Power Pivot. And there's a limit to the amount of data that Microsoft Excel can take. But Power Pivot, it can take more than what the normal Excel would take. If you look at the Excel sheet, control shift downwards, the last row there, control shift downwards, the last row here is over 1,048,576 rows. But with Power Pivot, it can take more than that. So let's click on Power Pivot here. Then I'll come here I'll select manage. The Power Pivot user interface pops up. So I'm waiting for it to load. First, I have to close this other sheet. Here. Control S. So you currently save sales analysis report by click 1. Then I'm going to I'll close it. Yeah, I can close this now. So I'll be left with just this one. So I'm waiting. Okay. Yes. So we have this Power Pivot user interface. You can see the home tab. If you want to get data out as well, you want to format the data, you want to sort and filter, you want to calculate some, do some calculation, you want to view how your data would be either in data view or in diagram view. Design. We have design here. You want to, create relationship between your tables. You want to mark your date table as a calendar and the likes. Then we have more advanced features here. So first thing first is currently showing like because we don't have data in here. So I want to bring in data. We have from database, from data service, and from other source. I'm going to click on from other source because I wanted to bring in that data that we saved. So it's I've not saved this yet. So let me just save it. So yeah, I've closed it. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down and look for the one I want to bring in is an Excel file. So you can see Excel file. Then I'll hit next. So it's asking for the file path. I'll browse where that data is. And the data is here. My Excel. Okay. Yes. This is the one. And I'm going to open this particular one. So once I'm done, use first row as column headers. Of course, yes. First row as column headers. And I'll hit next. So it's trying to get all the data. So you can see all the data here that we've worked on. So you have to start selecting. Did I save that as dim calendar? But let's see first. So we have dim customer. I'll check this dim customer. We have dim location. I'll check this. We have dim product. I'll check that. Then we have the sales fact table 2011 to 2016 is this one. I'll check this. We've selected customers, we selected location and product. Then the next one we want to select is the dim for dim calendar. I don't think we saved that with dim calendar. So let me look at this. Let me preview this particular one. Okay, so this is it, but I did not rename it. So okay, so you can preview your data as you are checking them. You can preview it. So I'm currently here. I just clicked on preview and filter, and it showed me what the data looked like. That's what it brought. So I'll hit OK. So I'm bringing just this data in: the dim location, the product, the one for customer, and also the sales package itself. And I'll hit finish. So to bring the data into Power Pivot. So you can see it here. Now, sometimes, you can see success. It means all the data has been imported in. Sometimes, if you see error, it's showing that it's not successful. It could be that data you want to bring in is currently open in Microsoft Excel. If I had not closed the other one, it will bring error. It will not show successful. So anytime you want to import data into Power Pivot, make sure that data is not active somewhere else it will show error when trying to import data in. Now hit close. As you can see, so I just closed this now. So you can see the data. We have the dim customer, dim location, dim product. We have the query one, which I'm going to rename now to date, dim date. So we are good. We don't have all the details that we need. I'm going to rename this. So you can rename. How do I rename? This tab that this query one is, if I click, and I'll rename this from query one to dim calendar. Dim calendar. So here, currently, you are seeing, if you are lost, please let me know so I can find you. Currently, you are seeing that it's currently showing in the data view, showing the data in tabular view. So how do I show, if I want to create a relationship between them? So come here, you can see we have diagram view. When I click on this diagram view, it will show the data like this. So let me bring this one here. Now, when you creating model, we have two types of model. We have the star schema, and we also have the snowflake schema. Don't forget, I said, before you can create connection between your tables together, there has to be something, a column. If you want to link your sales fact table to your dimension tables, there has to be that foreign key in the sales fact table that will link it to other tables. Let's go back here, and I'm going to just quickly explain what the type of data model we have. We have a star schema. This is you creating all your dimension tables to your fact table, forming a star like this. So you can see here, you are seeing this is dimension table customer. You are seeing that the customer ID here, which is a primary table on this key, is connected to the one on the sales fact table, which is called the foreign key here, because it's this customer ID column that will serve as a foreign key to link to this customer ID in this dimension table for customers. For products, the same thing. It links to the product ID here. For location ID, the same thing. It links to the one here. Then for dates, the same thing. For the dim calendar, it links to the other dates on the sales fact table. When you connect a table in this form, it forms a star. You call it a star schema. Then we have the other one. It is called snowflake schema. This has to do with if your dimension table have sub-dimension tables. For example, if you have another table that is for product subcategory or maybe product category, here you can see we have the one for dim product, but there's another table connected to the dim product. So anytime you have a kind of model that your dimension table also have sub-dimension tables, that kind of model is called snowflake schema. But the one we'll be doing here is just be looking at the star schema, because that is what the kind of data we have, the table that we have to link together. So we have some kind of relationship, the cardinality of the data. There is one-to-many relationship, there is many-to-many relationship, there is one-to-one relationship. Have any of us heard about this relationship before, one-to-many or many-to-one or one-to-one relationship before? Anybody have an idea of what one-to-one is, many-to-many is, one-to-one is? Anybody have an idea? I've been the only one talking since morning. Can someone help out? Does anybody have an idea of what one-to-many relationship is, one-to-one, many-to-many? Anybody wants to share? If you're saying something, you're muted though. Can we all hear me, please? Let me confirm first. Can we all hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, so anybody wants to try what one-to-one relationship is, many-to-many, one-to-many? Anybody?
Okay. Let me give it a try. I'm going to use real life examples. One-to-one relationship is like one individual to one account number in the bank.
Okay.
That's a one-to-one relationship. Then one-to-many, one person can own many houses, but one house cannot be owned by many persons. I think that's the most simplest way I can explain
Come to Benin. One house can be owned by many people.
Why?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mata. Thank you for that. So for one-to-one relationship, you can see this is when a single instance of an entity is relating to a single instance of another entity. Just like what she explained, how that a single person can have just one account number. You can't have one account number given to two persons. It's just one person to one account number. So it is a single instance of that customer to a single instance of the details, the account number for that person. Then there is one to many. So you can say one person can place one orders, but inside that orders, you have many many products in that orders. But you can say one course is taken by what's this example I'm going to give again? Um one student can take many courses, right? And that's like one to many. So one student to many courses, that's like a one to many relationship. Then many courses can be taken by many students. That's a many to many relationship. So I would look at now. Let's look at this want to create a star schema. I'm going to arrange it in order of star. Okay. So we have this. What is common here? What is that thing that we can link? Location ID here. Then we also have location ID here. So I'll drag this and put it here. It will form a relationship. So you can see this one to many. When you see this star implies many. One to many. So why is it like that? Remember when we were creating this dimension table for location, we removed all the duplicates here. We don't have any duplicates in this dimension table, but you have duplicates in the sales factor because this table records the number of times that order has been placed, number of times customer come in, everything, all the records about the transaction will be recorded on the sales fact table. But you can't find duplicates on the dimension table. That's why it is one to many. That is one instance of the location ID here to many of it here on the sales fact table. So dimension for customers, I'll drag customer ID here, then drag it to this place. So we have customer ID. So you can see the same thing, one to many. Same thing for dates, drag dates and place it on the dates here. So we have one to many as well. Then I would, for products, product ID to product ID. And you can see that's one to many. So what is the implication if we don't link these tables together? There's going to be a problem. If I want to find the category, let's see what happens now. Let me right click on this. So if you want to remove relationship, right click on that line. You can delete the relationship, or you want to edit it, or you want to mark as inactive. If you mark as inactive, the relationship will not be active, even if they are connected, but it will not be active. If you want to edit relationship, click on this and it brings this edit relationship dialog box, and you want to do any editing to edit on check active to make them not to be active, or you want to change the table anyhow you want to edit it, you can do that here. So I want to delete this relationship and see what happens if you don't connect your tables together. So delete from model. Yes, delete from model. So I'll leave these two not connected. So if I say I want to find the revenue generated for the product category. Now let's go back. I'm going to go to my diagram view. So yeah, first in my diagram view, I'm going to just edit all this. Format then not edit. This is currently showing as date and time. You want to change from date and time to just show date. You can see data type is showing dates here. I would come here and format to show just short date. I'll do the same thing for start of the week. I'll format to show the short date as well. So we have this. Then let's go to our sales fact table and see if there's. So the date as well is showing as date and time. So I'll format it and show short date. Okay, so I'm okay with this. Now, if I save that, I'm going to let me save this, please, before I Control S to save. So I'll save this as let me just give you sales performance analysis to differentiate it from the rest because I've created as many. Save. Okay, so I'll go back here. So go back to the Power Pivot, just come back, click on Power Pivot and go to manage. So it takes us back. So here we have, if I want to create a pivot table from this now, to see, I want to see the product, the revenue generated for each of the products. And I come here to pivot table, still in the home tab, you'd see here pivot table. Now click on pivot table. So I want it to be on the existing worksheet. So existing worksheet, I would come and select where I want it to be here. Just somewhere around here. Okay. So to add, okay. So to create a pivot table here. Good. If I should select currently, you can see that these are all our data that we brought into the Power Pivots. You can see the dim calendar, the dim customer, and everything. And you notice there's one orange icon that is looking like a drum. It shows that the data have been added to the data model. So if I should click on, let's say I check product category, it goes to the rows, then I come down to check the revenue. Now you notice something. You are seeing all the revenue. You're seeing accessories, the same revenue with bike, the same revenue with clothing. And the reason why it's like this is not giving accurate revenue for the accessories from the bikes, from the clothing, because those two tables are not connected together. Let's look at if I think all tables are connected, excluding is just only this one that is not connected. So let's see if we also create a pivot table form to see the revenue data based on the agenda. Control C and I'll paste this here. Control V. And I'll come here, drag out product category, then come and drag in the one for I'll drag in customer agenda. Can you see we have it as showing that we have over 41? Let me add comma so that I can call this row. You see we have over 41 million plus for female, then 43 million plus for male. Because those two tables are connected, it's able to generate the accurate result. The reason why it's giving us the same value for everything is because the product table and the sales table is not connected. So let's go back and fix it. I'll go back to pivot table, then come here to, then I'll go to my diagram view, and I'll link both tables together. Then you see what happens when we link them together. Product ID to product ID. If we link them together, go back to the pivot table. Can you see that it has changed? It's now giving us the accurate value, accurate result. So if you don't link your table together, be sure that you don't have the correct result, correct analysis. If you don't link them together, it will just give you a wrong result. Okay, so I just showed us how we can create, relationship between our tables together in Power Pivot. Now, anytime you bring in a date data into your Power Pivot, make sure to mark it as a date calendar here. What do I mean? So I'll go back to my data view. And this is a dim calendar. What Power Pivot is seeing it as is just seeing it as a normal data like the rest, not as a date calendar. So to mark a date calendar, with it selected, come here to your design tab. Then you see here in the calendars group, we have mark as date table, then date table. So I'll come here and mark as date table. Currently, you can see the box is not checked. If I check this box now, you have this mark as date table dialog box appear. So it's saying that, okay, select a column to be used as a unique identifier for the date table. The selected column must be of the date data type and must contain unique values only. So the date is going to be our identifier for this date dimension calendar table. So I would hit OK. So it has marked this table here as a date calendar. You can also generate, let's assume that we did not bring in a date calendar into this, we didn't bring in a date calendar here. How then do I fix that? To do this, I'll just, let's say I want to generate the date from this sales fact table. So select the column you want to. Let's assume now I said that we do not have a date dimension table or a date calendar, a dim calendar table. I want to do that here in Power Pivot. Select the column in the sales fact table that contains the date. Since we want to populate or generate another table that contains date and details about the date. Select that column, which is for dates. Then come here. Okay. Then come here. And you can see date table. So click on new. The moment I click on new, so waiting for it. The moment I click on new, can you see that it generated a new table for us? You can see calendar. Can you see a new table for us here? Did you get that? I should go over this again. Or we saw what I did just now. Are we with me?
Yes, we are with you. It will not be bad to go over it again.
Okay. So I'm going to now let me delete this now and show us how I just clicked on something here and it brought out this calendar. It generated calendar for us. So I'm going to right click and delete it. What did I, yes, delete. What did I do? So it's going to do that. What did I do? We are assuming that we did not bring in a date dimension table. Select the sales fact table that contains the date. So here in the date column, select the column for date. Once you've done that, click on your design tab. Then here in the calendars group, you'll see the option for date table. Click on the drop down button and you see new. Select new. When I select new, it's going to generate a new table that contains dates for us. So waiting for it to do that. So can you see how it populated a calendar table from just this sales fact table, the date in the sales fact table? Generated all this calendar. So you can see the date, the year, the month number, the month, year, date of the week, week of week number, day of week. It generated that for us, but we don't need this. I'm just showing us how we can or how to. So I'll delete this. I don't need it. Yes. All right. So we are done. Creating relationship between our tables. So let's see. Just check them out. Everything, if they're the same format, the correct format they should be in. So this is showing us, okay, so for every unique identifier, unique identifier, you're not performing any annotation on it. So any unique identifier that contains numerical values, I want to make them be seen as text, not, I'm not going to be doing anything here. So I'll just change this, the customer ID, even if it's numerical values that is there, I'll change it to show text. Then, yes. So I'm okay with the one for the customer age. Let it show phone number, not, it's currently showing. Okay, yes. I wanted to show as whole number, not decimal. So I'm okay with this. The gender is showing as text. So fine. Come to dim location. So location is showing as text, country text, state text. Good. I'm okay with this one. So let me just expand this a bit. Then I'm going to dim product. So we have the product category showing as text here. Category, subcategory text, product itself. I'm okay with this one. And the next thing is the dim calendar. We have to be sure it's the same correct data type that is showing. So I'm okay with all this. Then I'll move to sales fact table. The order ID shows that it's showing as number. I'll change this from decimal number to, I want to show as text. Any ID column, I don't want them to be seen as numerical values or whole number decimal. I want them to be seen as text because I won't be doing anything on the side counting them. Then the dates, I'm okay with the dates. Then the customer, I change this from decimal to text as well, customer ID here to text. Then the products. So the products, I'm okay with products. It's showing as text, order quantity, decimal, leave order quantity as decimal. Or let me change it to whole number because currently it's whole number. Yes, change to whole number. Then the unit cost. unit costs. Let's leave all this one as decimal, or you can change them as whole number at your end. So the location, I'll leave it at the way it is. Yes. Okay, good. Now looking at our data, the instruction given to us. What we are asked to do, we've been told that, okay, this data are given to contain product categories and subcategories. This is what about the product, the customer demographics, the age and the gender, the sales performance metrics, the sales, the revenue and the cost, and seasonal regional sales trend. So the goal of the analysis is to answer some key questions about the business, such as what are the key performance indicators, the KPI such as total revenue, total profit, average order placed, customer counts, average order this is the same thing. The average order placed and average order value is the same thing. But let's okay, so how do I do this? First, we're told to find the total revenue, then we'll move to the total profit. So I'm going to go back to the data. Let's look at our revenue. What is the formula to get revenue? Formula to get revenue is what? Is anybody there? Are we there? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If I want to get revenue, so I'll just go on. If I want to get revenue, the formula for revenue is going to be your unit price multiplied by your quantity. Then for cost is going to be unit cost multiplied by quantity. But if you should look at this for revenue, I don't think is correct, because order quantity multiplied by the price will not give you 98. 20 multiplied by 5 will not give you 28. So we have to delete this. So if you want to delete a column, right click on it and you can see delete column. So if I hit delete, it's going to delete that column from there. I'll delete this. Do you want to permanently delete the selected columns? Yes, I want to delete revenue because I want to create a new one that's going to be for the revenue. But I think the one for cost is correct. The one for cost is correct. Unit cost multiplied by order quantity gives us 40. So it's very correct for the one for cost. So how do I add a new column? Double click on this add column here. The moment I click on add column, I can rename this. I'll rename this revenue now. Revenue. For us to get total revenue and total profit first, you have to create another column because that revenue column is not correct. So revenue. The moment I click on that, then you'd see there's an equal to sign immediately after the formula bar. So I'll type in, I would say unit cost, unit price now, unit price. So you can see it here. Select this, double click on it. They say unit price multiplied by shift 8 multiplied by the order quantity. So I type in order quantity. Please, if you don't get it, just let me know. So once I'm done, I'm going to hit enter and it will generate. So you can see it here. We have the correct value here for revenue. What I did was just multiply the unit price by the order quantity to get my revenue. So I've gotten this. So I think I have a message in the chat box. Let me quickly check that. Who can you cannot see my screen?
No, we can see it. It's probably a network. You should leave and rejoin.
Okay, please leave and rejoin because I was scared. I thought, okay, please just leave and join again, please. I thought I wasn't sharing my screen. Okay, so now we have revenue. If I want to get profit, to get profit is revenue minus cost would give us our profit. So I'll double click on this add column again. And you see that with pivot table, you can create some calculated columns. All these columns I'm adding in are called calculated columns. So I'll type in profits here. And I'll hit enter. Then you'll see an equal to sign at the formula bar, waiting for it to load it in. So you can see we have profit and you have equal to sign here. So I would say to get profit, I would say revenue. The minute you type in revenue, the revenue from, you can see revenue and revenue sales fact. Let me tell you these two. I can click on this revenue and also this one. But since I'm currently on the sales fact table, sales part 2011-2016. I can decide to go for this one because I'm currently on that sales part table. But if I'm on another table, I would go with this one that carries the table name. So let me just go with this one that carries the table name. I'll select this one and I'll say minus the cost. Where is the cost coming from? The cost is coming from the sales fact table. Since I'm here, I would have just chosen this unit cost, but because I don't want us to mix it up, so I'll just go with the one that carries the cost, the one that carries the name. So I'll select this and I would hit enter. So I'm saying revenue minus the cost. So I'll hit enter and we should have a value for profit. So we have revenue, we have the profit, and also have revenue. Good. Then let's go back to the question. Now it is, what are the key performance indicators, the KPIs, such as the total revenue, total profit, then also the average order placed and customer count. So let's go back. For DAX, we have different type of DAX function. DAX function is, they're just function that you can use to perform some specific calculations in your Power Pivot. Those functions you can use to create calculations, like you want to find total sales using sum, you want to find the average. Of course, we've done some basic functions like that in the normal Excel, but here in pivot table, in Power Pivot, I mean, you use DAX functions to get some. We have different DAX functions. We have some mathematical DAX, such as the minimum, maximum, average, sum, count, distinct count. Then we have for logical, where you have your if, your switch functions. We have different that. Let me show us. Let me just quickly go through that for us. I'll just use my head to say all those things. Let me okay. So let me quickly go through the DAX functions for us. Okay, yes. So we have M language versus DAX. I already explained what M language are used for. They are majorly used for data preparation. That anytime any transformation you add or perform on your Power Query is being recorded at the back end, which it's as M codes. Power Query records it at the back as M codes. So for DAX is used for creating calculations and measures within the Power Pivots. Now this is for Power BI, but within the Power Pivots. So you can use DAX for analysis, for visualization purpose. So let's just quickly go straight to the types of DAX that we have. We have different DAX. Yes, we have some math and stat DAX functions, which are the sum, the average, maximum, minimum, divide, count rows, distinct count. We have some iterator functions. We have the sum X, we have the average X, the max X, min X, rank X, count X. We have some logical DAX functions, your if, and, or, not, switch, true, false. These are logical functions. Then for text DAX function, we have concatenate. You want to combine values. You want to format left, mid, right, upper, lower, len. We'll look at all these ones as we are doing it. Not all, but just a few of them. We have some filter DAX functions. We have calculate. These are functions I use to manipulate your table or filter and filter some context. We have filter all except, all selected, as many as possible. These are not all the DAX functions that we have. I'll show us a site that you can get these DAX functions and what they are used for. We have some table functions. You want to add columns, you want to distance, values, union, intersect. For date and time, date difference, year, month, day, hour, anything that has to do with date. You also have some time intelligence functions too that you can use you want to get the previous year's sales. You can use some function as date add, or we have same period last year. Would look at them. This is table functions used to manage or modify table relationship, related table, cross filter, user relationship, DAX functions. There are many DAX functions. We'll just showed us how to some of these functions here. So here, this part you are seeing under this place is called the calculation area, this part here. So if I want to start creating measures, these two columns I created here are called calculated columns. These are columns I calculated. This is using those arithmetic operator as minus, slash, then asterisk to create them. Let me go back. Some DAX operators here. We have, you can see plus. We use plus to get the one for, sorry, we use minus to get the one for profit, that is revenue minus cost. Then asterisk multiplication, multiplied our unit price by the other quantity to get the revenue. Then we have plus, I'm going to add, we have slash for division, we have this for exponent. Then we have some comparison operator equal to, greater than, less than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, would use them. Then some text logical operators. This one is for concatenate, this and. And when you have double ampersand, it's for and. Then this double pipe and in. I just showed us. We're not looking at some of them, but we'll touch some. First thing is to find the total orders. To find total orders, all I have to do is select somewhere. I'm still in the sales fact table. I want the sales fact table to contain all my measures. So I'm working here in the sales fact table. Third here in the sales fact table. Here, select anywhere in the calculation table and come here. I'll type in total. The first one is total revenue. So total revenue. So semicolon equal to, and I'll use the function sum. To get total revenue, I'll use function sum. So sum, double click on this sum, and the first argument, the only argument to take, sorry, is the column name. The column you want to work with. I want to work with the revenue column. So I'll type in revenue. Revenue, you can see revenue here and sales fact table. You want from sales fact table. I already told you that you can use any of the two, but be sure that you are in that table you want to work on. So I'll just go with this sales fact table. Then I'll close my parentheses and hit enter. And it will generate the total sum of revenue that we have for us. It's waiting for it to load. It might take time to load the bits, but not that long. You can see. So I'll format this, add comma to it. I'll also add $sign, revenue, $sign. Can reduce decimal as well. Okay. So we have total revenue. Then I want to get, the next one is to get total profit. Same thing as this, total profit. So I'll just select the next cell or anywhere. Just make sure you're here at the calculation area. Then the next one is total profit. So I'll type in total profit. Semicolon equal to. Then I would say sum. Sum what? I want to sum the profit column. Where is the profit column coming from? It's the sales fact table. Then I'll close my parentheses and hit enter. It generates the total profit that we have. Okay, so I can just add the $sign as well. Then reduce decimal. So you can see all these are measures we are creating. If I go back to that pivot table, you would see it. Now let's go back to where the pivot table is. If I click on this drop down button beside the sales fact table 2016 and I scroll down, can you see you can see FX. These are measures that we calculated. These are measures. Then let me go back. This is total revenue and total profits. The next thing we're told to find again, where is it? Yes, we're told to find the average orders placed. So how do I get the average orders placed? Anybody wants to help? What function do you think I should use for average order placed from the word average orders placed? What function? Who is there? Anybody?
That's the average function. Average.
Yes, average. So I'll select another place, another cell in that calculation area, and I'll give this average orders list. Or is it the same thing as average order value? Let me just put average order value equal to. So I would say average. You can see the average. Then column name you want to work with. I want to work with the orders quantity. So I'll type in the orders, and you can see the orders quantity. Then I would close my parentheses and hit enter. So we have this. I can reduce decimal. Let me leave it at this. Yeah, 11.9. So our average order value is 11.9. Then let's go back. The next thing we have to look for again, we're told to find the customer count. They have to know the total number of customers that they have. So I'm going to come back. Now, I'm going to show the difference between distinct counts and count. If I'm counting the customer from the dimension table customer, I would use count because we don't have duplicate of customers in that table. But I'm counting the customer ID to know the number of customers in the sales fact table. I have to use distinct count because this sales fact table contains duplicates. It records the number of times customer comes to purchase or comes to place order. So it contains duplicates. So let's see what I mean. If I'm using the, let's see. If I come here and I say, okay, I want to get total customer, and I say total customer, I say count, and I'm using count. Then I say count, then I count the customer ID in the sales fact table. This one. Let's see what happens. Let's see the result that it will give us. And when we use distinct count for it, count, I hit enter for this one. Now don't mind PowerPoint, but take your time to load the data before it start giving you the correct result. So let's see if I use distinct count now. Total customers 2. Then I say distinct count. And I'm using the customer ID from the sales fact table. Then I hit enter. Now, can you see the difference? If you look at the results here, when I use just count, you are seeing over 11. This is 113,036 number of customers. And the total using distinct count to know the actual number of customers that are purchasing from the company. Using distinct count gave us 8,232. So what happened? What happened was because this sales fact table records the number of times customer comes. So if I come here today and buy, it record my ID. Come tomorrow and buy, it record my ID. Come next tomorrow and buy, it record my ID. When I use count, it did not count it uniquely, counted even the number of times I came to purchase something from the store. That was what happened here. So you have to be very, very careful when using the counts and distinct count. You have to know when to use them. If I was using the dim customer table, I can use count because I know and I'm sure there's no duplicate in this table. What do I mean? Let's say I want to use, I'm going to just work with, I'll delete this particular one. So to delete it, I'm going to right click and I'll delete it. Yeah, delete from model. I'll only work with this one here that I created using distinct count. So I'll change this, just give this total customer and leave it like that. If I'm going to be using the customer item, the named customer, that is when I can use count because I'm sure that we don't have duplicates there. But I'll leave it like that because of our time. Time is fast spent already. We'll continue from here tomorrow. So yeah, the total customer we have is over 8,232. Then the next thing, I think we mix something up. So let's see. Okay, so sorry, one should be total orders and total order quantity placed, and the other should be average order value. So I mixed up one of them when typing this. So one should be total orders, total quantity, then one should be average order value. That's the average order placed. So I'd go back. We've gotten for the average order value by using average to find, but we made a mistake with that average order value. So it shouldn't have been the order quantity. It should have been the order ID to count all the orders have been placed so far. So I would remove this and give this order ID. So the order ID is coming from the sales fact table, and I'll wrap this and hit enter. So I'll get the correct value for the average order placed. Then I want to get the total quantity. Okay, so now this is giving us error. That's because the other ID is a column that contains, so it contains numeric text. So let's just look for the one for total quantity. We'll come back to this and just use count. Total quantity equals sum, the sum of the quantity, which is coming from the, yes, this will give us total quantity. Now hit enter. And the last thing we'll look at, the last thing we'll look at here is the total orders placed. So it's going to be total orders placed. And I'll use count rows. So to count all the rows in this, I'll use count rows, and I'm going to use the order. Okay, so it is a table. I'll just use the sales fact table. So in the pivot table, I'm going to change that. So the expression is not valid or appears to be incomplete. Please review the correct expression for. Okay. Oh, sorry. There's an equal to at the back. That was why it was giving us this error. So I'm just going to hit enter now, and this will generate the total orders for us. Total orders placed. We get the total orders placed. So far, so good. From 2011 to 2016, we've generated the total orders placed, which is over 113,000 plus. So we'll continue from here tomorrow. Our time is fast spent already. Then from here, we'll continue generating other measures and would run our analysis and probably create a report tomorrow if possible, and if not, would do that on Sunday. But yes, so are we me, or you've left me already?
We are here. Ogbomi.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone said Ogbomi. You can just go by it. You can go by it using to be honest, using Excel for creating reports, it's stressful. Or like Power that was created initially for visualization, where you have to just use drag and drop, and But using Excel for it to take your time. You have to use your head, take sort of time to think something through. All right. So before we end the class, because our time is fast spent, can someone share with us one or two things he or she picked from today's class? So who's going first? Is Okoyemi here?
Yes, ma. I'm here. Okoyemi Usman or the other Okoyemi.
Do we have two Okoyemi? I thought
I
it's just
believe so.
one. I think you're the only person with Okoyemi here. Okay, so Okoyemi, can you share with us what you picked into this class? Then followed by Mata. And yes, two of you first. All right, so
Thank you very much for today's class. It has been very insightful. We started from where we stopped last class, and I learned how to append query. I only have heard about it before. I didn't know how to, and I also learned very well how to create data model and the relationship, how important the relationship is in data modeling. I was made to know that when the relationship is not declared, there will not be correct answers. And I also learned again um, the way joints work. Okay, and lastly, we were looking at how to use Power Pivots um, to get KPIs, which is really, really fascinating. And that's all I can remember for now. But I know I learned a lot today.
can you share with us?
Didn't get that, man.
No, I said thank you very much. Can Mata share with us what she picked from today's class? Thank you so much, Isran. Okoyemi. All right, so Mata, are you there? If you are saying
Good
something, you are
evening.
muted.
I'm
Good.
here. I'm here.
Okay.
It's a lot for me. I'm quite new to majority of what you taught today. So it means I have to go through the video again.
All right.
Record it. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. Who else wants to go? Yetunde, are you there? Yetunde, are you there? Can you share with us what you picked from today's class? Or anybody wants to share with us what you or she picked from today before we end the class?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I learned about pivoting and home pivoting in Power Query. I think I learned about it before, so today's class is just a quick reminder because I think I've forgotten about it, and then I got a lot of insight on it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think you're talking about power pivot, not pivoting and non-pivoting, right? Because we didn't do pivoting and non-pivoting today. So I guess you're referring to power pivot. All right. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining tonight. I know it's a tough one for those of us that are new to using Microsoft Excel for something like this. It's going to be a tough one, but let's not worry. Tomorrow I'm going to try as much as possible to simplify everything so you can get it once and for all. For those of us that have been doing the 90 days challenge, I want to say thank you and well done for showing up consistently on LinkedIn. So thank you so much, everybody.
Okay,
Thank you
Ma,
for your
please
time.
check that message on the chat. Please check it before you log out.
Okay, I would. All right, so thank you, everybody. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Okay, so I think I have to. Thank you. Thank you, Adeleye Boluwaji Moses. Sorry if I don't pronounce that well. Thank you, Ayotunde. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Martha. Good night. Priscilla. Good night. Swame Paul. Good night, everybody. Naomi. Good night. Basi. Good night, everybody. Let's have a wonderful night rest. Don't forget to watch the video too. We'll try to upload on YouTube so that we can get it. And if you have questions, please don't forget. Can write down your questions tomorrow. We'll trash them out together. And for those that are unable to see my screen because of network, we're sorry about that. So we'll see you in our next class. Bye.
Good night, ma. But
Good
before you
night.
go, please can I ask a question?
Okay, yes, you can.
The assignments you gave us, I want to ask
Okay.
how many how many rows? You actually specified the number of columns. That is, we are going to have 5 columns
The rows
remaining.
is 999 plus. Let's leave it at
That
that.
will
Nine.
be
I don't.
remaining.
I don't even know the number of rows. So 999
So
plus.
I know they are 999 plus. Like after doing it, how many will be remaining?
Still 999 plus.
Still 999.
Yes. Do you have
Ah.
otherwise?
I did mine and it was remaining 61.
61. Wow. Let's let's don't worry. We'll look at it together on Sunday
It
because
This is
was
one
over.
thing
the
Priscilla,
screenshot
that is
was
over
looking
cleaning. That is over cleaning.
because
the screenshot was looking the same, oh, like with
no, it's
your
fine. It's
screenshot and
fine. It's fine.
everything.
If your screen is speaking the same
I
thing, we'll
don't
look at
understand
it.
how it got to 61.
Look
That's
at
why
it
I
on
did not
Sunday
submit. I
together.
just said, let me keep it
I
first.
know that majority will not get it because in that assignment, you need to use 2 features that I have not taught you, which is how to fill up and fill down your data. I've not taught us that, but it's very easy. And also how to deal with um dates error issue as a result of the region where the data is coming from. So I've not taught us those 2 things. So I know people, many of us, 90% of the students will not be able to try the assignments. Some will try and try, but will still not get it. But on Sunday, after our class, we'll look at it together and we'll solve the problem. But it's fine. So let's keep battling with it and let's win the battle. Okay. So
Thank you.
good night, everybody. Good night. Yesterday said she sent me a direct message. I can't find the direct messages in the. Okay.